Trailblazing edifice of technical education in Telangana, supported by world-class infrastructure, committed to create future-ready and industry-fit engineering minds. Anurag Group of
I request Lakshmi Rana Madam to start the.
Good afternoon, one and all. Welcome to another informative, enlightening session on effective tools to test students' language ability in online learning process. Online teaching has turned up as a massive shock for both the teachers' productivity and students' social life and learning. Assessment has become a big challenge. To clarify all our doubts, Dr. Susanto Salmon is available to share some of the inputs. Before going to start the session, let me take the privilege to introduce two distinguished speakers of Anurag University. Dr. K.S. Rao Garu, the Director of Anurag University, is with us to share some of his inputs. Dr. K.S. Rao Garu has obtained his BTech and MTech degrees from KITS and REC Warangal respectively in Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering with specialization in biomedical instrumentation and signal processing. He had published several papers in national and international journals and conferences. He was instrumental in setting up various laboratories in the field of electronics and computer technology for UG and PG programs. Since 2000, he headed 3 engineering colleges in Andhra Pradesh and was responsible in organizing several developmental programs for faculty and students, national level conferences, national level student technical meets, training programs in the advanced technologies, developed industry institute interactions, etc. He was instrumental in getting collaboration with Indo-US Collaboration for Engineering Education, IUCEE. He was the director of the institution since 2016 and was instrumental in getting all the engineering programs accredited by MBA, institution accredited by NAC, promoting research, getting 169th rank by NIRF, etc. I request Dr. K.S. Rao Garu to share few words on this memorable occasion. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Lakshmi Ramana Madam, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak on this platform. At the outset, very good afternoon to all of you. For all the participants and organizers, a very good afternoon and a warm welcome to this webinar. At the outset, I would like to congratulate the Department of English for organizing this international webinar on language skills and teaching online, problems and prospects teaching online. The language skills has become, our communication skills has become very, very important in this world because communication, unless we communicate, the world cannot understand what we think and what we have in our mind. So in the olden days, language was not given that much importance. Language was treated as just a language. But nowadays, at present, the language has become so important that whatever is there in our mind, whatever we think, whatever technical skills we have, unless we communicate to the external world, you are nowhere. Nobody will recognize any one of you. So the communication skills or the language skills has become very, very essential part of life. Building up vocabulary doesn't mean anything, but one should practice the usage of vocabulary with a proper meaning and an appropriate place. Then only the communication will become more effective. One can by heart or one can remember a lot of words that are given in Oxford dictionaries or anything, but unless we use those vocabulary at an appropriate place and in an appropriate form, the world cannot understand what we mean. So I request the English department, many a times I have requested my English department faculty to train the students in using proper words in a proper manner. That will make the students to understand how to use the language in appropriate manner. A language is simple to a programming language also. In any programming language, if any instruction is not written in a proper manner, the program will never work and the output result you will never get. So English is also very much similar to a programming language. There in the programming language, we will remember the syntax of various instructions and formats. But in English also, we have to remember the vocabulary, sentence formation, grammar we have to follow. So all these things should be taught to the students. If we remember in my school days, I remember the book for English grammar written by Wren and Martin. That is the Bible for English grammar book. Even today, if I get any doubt in English, I used to refer to that particular book only. Then Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis. These are the Bibles which we have to tell to the students to understand, to go through these books, to understand grammar as well as vocabulary and usage of words to improve the word power. So the word power is very, very important in this modern life. So I wish that this webinar is going to throw enough light on various tools that are being used to teach to the students online and making the students to enhance their communication skills, vocabulary skills, and usage of good language to become a good graduate engineers or a good human being in this world. So I wish all the organizers a very grand success of this webinar. And I also thank every one of you for giving me this opportunity to say a few words. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
We are grateful to you, sir, for your kind words of encouragement. Your able guidance has always motivated us and encouraged us always. I acknowledge the unwavering support received from you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Now, I would like to invite Dr. Vishnu Murthy Garu, Dean, School of Engineering. Before sharing his views, I would like to introduce him to the audience. Dr. Vishnumurthy Garu graduated and postgraduated in CSE and did his PhD from JNTU, Hyderabad. He has more than 20 years of teaching, research, and administrative experience. He has published around 80 research papers in international journals and conferences, and one of his papers is placed in Carmel Computing Research Respiratory. He received Best Paper Award for the research paper on trends in image representation using picture languages, and presently guiding scholars in the areas of computer vision, big data, and cybersecurity. He is an MBA trainer on outcome-based education. He attended Management Capacity Enhancement Program at IIM Indore and Leadership Development Program by Dudley College, UK, as a part of UKRE initiative. Sir, over to you to share some of your inputs.
Very good afternoon, all of you. Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi Ramana, for introducing. A very good afternoon to all. Visionary leader, the source of inspiration, Anurag University, the chairman, Dr. Palla Rajeshwar Reddy, the secretary, Madam Neelima, Honorable Chancellor, Dr. U.B. Desai, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Ramchandran, respected Registrar, Madam Samin Fatima, Deans, Heads, colleagues, the resource persons, and the participants of this two-day international webinar. A very good afternoon to all, and I welcome all to this international webinar on behalf of Anurag Group of Anurag University. At the outset, I would like to congratulate the Department of English for taking this initiative at the right time, that is, the problems and associated with online language teaching, problems and prospects of language online teaching, especially the convener and the head, Dr. Anantalakshmi, the convener, co-convener, Dr. Mahipati Srinivas Rao, and event organizers, Dr. Lakshmi Ramana, Dr. Bobby Dooley, and supporting English department crew. I thank all of you for your efforts for making this webinar to happen for the benefit of teaching community on a whole. I also thank from the bottom of my heart all the resource persons who made this today's international webinar a wonderful, successful event with their diversified experience, because we have seen the yesterday sessions and today morning session, the feedback was overwhelming. The people were very happy. And today, I hope a session by Dr. Susanto is going to be on the tools that can be used to check the learning abilities of the students, which will be very useful for the entire teaching fraternity. I take a small jump here. Instead of using the language, I would like to use the word soft skills, because the soft skills will play a very important role in life of any graduate, without which he cannot be a successful man. And whenever I talk the soft skills, a survey report that always comes to my mind, that is the survey conducted by Stanford University on all the successful engineers. They conducted a survey to know what attributed for their success in their career. So when you look at the entire spectrum of the curriculum of technical education, that can be divided into uh, two ways. One is the domain expertise, and the second one comes the soft skill. And surprisingly, when you look at the results of this survey, the most of the people uh, conveyed that 94% of attribution is from the soft skill, and 6% domain expertise are attributed for their successful career. So what we can, when we look at really the curriculum that is composed for any graduation program, the portion is going to be really in reverse. So they'll be having the more courses related to the domain expertise, very few courses related to the language and soft skills. And I'm very fortunate that the leadership of Anurag University realized this, and we had a few initiatives with the support of our Department of English, which really brought see-through change, very good change, and we could receive a whooping placements this year, crossing almost reaching to 98%. The one among that is helping to establish the language laboratories, supported language clubs in alignment with the international clubs like Toastmaster, where that will help us to improve their leadership qualities, communication, and soft skills. The second one is introducing the certification program, the BEC especially, which is because normally the learning will not only help, we need to have something that showcase, that will help to showcase the learning what the student have. So this BEC certification will really help the graduates to showcase that they are very good at communication skills. And when we looked at the testimony of the student who has taken up this course, he told this helped him like anything to grab the opportunity in the best MNC as a software engineer. So the third initiative, which I need to put in front of all of you, because this can be practiced at your universities, that is the language project. That is, apart from simply teaching in the classroom, they made the language combined with the domain expertise or linked to the domain. They've converted the students into groups, and they have given a case study kind. They are supposed to go to a company and they need to interact with the CEO and a few important members of that company, and they need to understand the in and out of that company, and whatever the learning they had, they are supposed to present that in a form of a document. So this exercise really helped them to acquire a plethora of skills. That is not only the communication, that this also helps them to collaborative learning, peer learning, interacting with the new persons, converting that whatever the discussions they had into a report, that is that helps them to prepare a technical document. So this really we received, these initiatives really we received a lot of appreciations from the students, and I'm very happy this time the Department of English is coming out, including this language project as one of the required component as part of the curriculum. So that really benefits the students. And the two more important advantages that I would like to put in front of you that we are going to get with the help of this online teaching, because now we don't left with the option. We are made compulsory to go with the help of this online. So it is always better to look at what are the advantages rather than only focusing on the challenges, because anyhow the challenges need to be addressed, and we are forced to go during this unprecedented times of the COVID. We don't left with any other option. I hope everybody might have remembered a quotation saying a picture is of worth 1,000 words. So if a picture can represent 1,000 words, if I'm creating an animation using 24 frames per second, then it's going to be 24 into 1,000. So 24 into 10,000. So then if I'm having a minute animation, how many words that I can represent with the help of this. So I can very easily inculcate or combine the multimedia into my day-to-day teaching that will help me to make my presentations more attractive, more attention holding. This helps me to engage the students very effectively. The third point that I would like to bring to all of your notice is this online teaching will help us to minimize the time that we can use for the discussion in the classroom. That is, I can send some pre-created material, video lectures kind of thing, and I can use most of the time for the discussion and reinforcing the concepts that what I want to convey to the students. This really address a very important concept called inclusive learning. So this inclusive learning is nothing but making the student to realize the importance of concept called self. So the students will be able to understand the importance of the self. Once they understand the importance of the self, that helps them to behave with responsibility, that helps them to create their own direction, that helps them to generate some curiosity, that helps them to become more creative. So this helps them to imbibe the values like analysis and evaluation, which is very important for the progress of any graduate. So I think to look at the positive side, the online teaching has given a lot of advantage to us. And moreover, to talk about the language teachers, they are already far ahead of all of us because most of the language trainings and the language examinations like TOEFL, GRE, IELTS, they already had a lot of online training and proctored examinations. So they are already a step ahead. And we have a plenty of tools that are supporting for making these presentations and all very effective. So to close with by taking Peggy Hayes, a famous communication and a leadership coach from the California, USA, that is normally the soft skills are given least value, but that soft skills can make or break the career of students. So it is the role of all the teachers to make the students to realize this important point, but at a very early stage of in their career to have the bright careers, to have fruitful and purposeful careers. To conclude with, I go with the quotation of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, end effort never dies. So whatever the effort that we want to put in for making the learning better, that will definitely give the positive results. To go with a small sloka of Sanskrit. Ano Bhadra Kritva Vayantu Vishwataha. Let the noble thoughts come to let the noble thoughts come from all the directions to empower all the teaching fraternity to groom the young graduate who are supposed to deal with the machines. I wish this international webinar definitely will help you to deliver the teaching learning practices at your places effectively. A round of applause to all the people who made this webinar possible. Thank you. Thank you all. Over to Lakshmi Ramana.
Unmute yourself. I request Lakshmi ma'am to unmute herself.
Thank you very much, sir, for your interesting and thought-provoking address. I'm sure that all the participants have taken note of your suggestions and will be discussing within their organizations the actions to be initiated at their level. And we are very fortunate here in Anurag University to work and develop the language development and struggling. And here we have introduced the credit courses in English language, and we are striving hard to implement the soft skills is a must for the engineering professionals. Thank you very much, sir. Assessment is a critical component of the online classroom. Faculty new to online teaching may feel that assessment in online courses is limited. The goal of learning assessments should be to measure whether actual learning outcomes match with desired learning outcomes. Teachers who build instruction confuse while designing learning assessments, which will in turn affect the quality of instruction. Online teaching has turned up as a massive shock for both the teacher's productivity and student social life learning. Assessment has become a big challenge. To clarify all our doubts, Dr. Susanto Saman is available to share some of the inputs with us. Before going to start the session, let me take the privilege to introduce Dr. Saman. Dr. Saman is currently working as a head Center for Studies in Linguistics at Banda Lampang University, Indonesia. He is the founder and president of Indonesian Community for Forensic Linguistics. His articles on various topics were published in many international journals. He presented 35 international conference papers on several concepts. He is a member in several international associations. To name a few, member Global Educators Network, Teachers of English as a Foreign Language, member in International Language and Law Association, member International Association of Systematic Functional Linguistics, member Foundation and Endangered Languages UK, and professional honors are many. To name a few, he is the ambassador award for excellence by government of Indonesia, Indian Council for Cultural Relations scholarship by government of India, travel grants ISFC Macquarie University Sydney, fellowship for Winter Institute at Macquarie University Sydney. Dr. Saman, we are very much eager to know the effective evaluating tools to test the students' learning. Over to Dr. Saman.
Someone, sir, could you please unmute your mic?
Can you ask?
Yeah, you are audible now.
Yeah. Actually, how long will I have? 30 minutes or 1 hour?
Yes, 1 hour, sir.
Okay, good. Yeah. Thank you very much for the conference, the organizers, and then especially for the invitation sending to me. Actually, it is quite quite hectic these days because I have a lot of meetings, but it's okay. So far so good. So I can make particular days special for this international webinar, and then it is a great honor for me, especially as a graduation from India, English and foreign languages university in Hyderabad, and I had been in India since 2005. Now, since 2005 till 2014, so it is quite long. And then I very much thankful to the government of India, and then also to my teachers, great teachers, and then great friends, especially Mr. Babu, Mr. Dr. Babu, yeah. So, yeah. So I have a lot of also experience talking and then sharing the ideas with my colleague in India since 2005 and 2014. And then today I would like to present something. I think it will be very interesting for me, especially, and then also for audiences, lecturers, especially teaching English in the universities levels, college, and also I think tertiary levels. So please allow me to share my screen. Yeah. Wait a minute. I will. Yeah. So I will share my screen. Then here we go. Can you get it?
Yeah, it's visible.
All right. So let me make it full. Yeah. Is it fine? Yeah, I think it's very nice first slide. I love it very much. I made it for 2 days, especially for these wonderful PowerPoints. So I hope I will not talk fast, because I'm afraid that the message cannot be understood well. So slowly but sure. And then after this, I welcome very much for the questions. Yeah. Now, effective tools to test, to assess, to assess the student's language ability in online learning process. And I would like to introduce myself, especially for my educational background. Recently, I just come back from United States of America, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I got Fulbright Senior Research Fellow in USA. And then postdoctoral research fellow 2015 2017, actually 2 years and a half in Shanghai Jiatong University, China. I got the fellowship. Oh yeah, in the Fulbright for the MIT, I did my research on the forensic linguistic using functional magnetic resonance imaging, very nice research instrument doing. We are trying to understand the brain activities while we are testing, while we are assessing the someone whether she's or he's telling a lie or not. It is for forensic setting. And then for the postdoctoral research fellow, I do research for 4 legal cases in China: corruption and murder case, and then other cases. And then 2009, Tsinghua University, and then 2008 in Mega University. This is a nice picture I took. And then PhD Linguistic. It is very special. 2008 till 2014 in English and Foreign Languages University in India. And then MA English also in India. Earlier, FLU called as Central Institute of English and Foreign Languages. Then transform into the university from the institute to the university. MA 2005 2007, and then MA, my first MA in applied linguistics, 2002 and till 2005, and then BA in English 1970 till 2002. I would like to tell you a little bit why it is something like, because as we know that university students learning the language, sometimes they think that it is for the language, for the sake of the language only, but it's not actually. There are many things we can do with the language, and then it is one of things that I would like to share. That once you are our students studying the languages, the theory of the languages, the instrument, the technology of the languages, the way of how the people communicate with the languages. There are many things that we can do. And today is the knowledge of language is much aware of being researched, being studied in relation to other skills, other fields, other research field, other For example, biology, physical, and so on and so forth. It is what I did in MIT last time. I'm trying to elaborate the knowledge of the language through the forensic setting using using the neuroscience. Yeah, so it is I was at the brain and cognitive sciences neuroscience. So through the instrument, I can analyze real time how actually the brain is working. And then for the language studies, I think in Anuradha University, there are something like sociolinguistic and then language acquisition and language teaching. It is a good idea to promote the theory in the classroom, the theory that's studied by the student, the students who are learning language to look at more advanced. So, for example, they can bring the ideas to other countries, for example, to do research with some advanced instruments. So it is the thing that I did. Next. Now, in my university, I have been appointed as the head of the Center for Studies Linguistic. There, I do some researches with my team. Number one, language technology, language typology. In language technology, the thing that I will present, some technology. And then the language typology, looking at the various languages, ethnic languages. As we know that India also, India is very famous. The same thing like in very famous of many languages. In Hyderabad, we have Telangana. Telugu. We have also Hindi, Marathi, Malayalam, and then Kannada, Punjabi. Yeah, many languages, and they are very beautiful to do research on it. And then language typology, and then language acquisition, learning and teaching, and then psycholinguistic, the psychology with linguistic, and then clinical linguistic. Once we are learning the language, for example, we can help the clinical practice. For example, once we find that a particular student has something problem to, for example, to pronounce, or after getting surgery, with the vocal tract, something like that. So we are looking at what can we do to help them to communicate well using the language. And then neurolinguistic, we are looking at how the language process in the brain. And for example, for the students, I think in India, quite the same thing like in Indonesia, we find some students are very difficult to learn the language, not because of the lack of their intelligence, but also because of problem with the brain after having the accidents, for example, hitting the wall, car accidents, train accidents, something like that. So neurolinguistic are trying to help them. And then biolinguistic. Here it is quite new for us, especially in Asia. We are trying to look at what can the language science can be done, can be contributed to the collaborative with the biology. Especially, I'm planning to help. For example, the immunity. How is actually the stem cell communicate one with another? So it is the thing that we are doing here for the biology and linguistic science, and then forensic linguistic. Please allow me to share a little bit about forensic linguistic. Hopefully that through this international webinar can motivate students for their project, language students project on forensic linguistics. Very nice. A little bit. What is actually forensic linguistics? The interface between language, law, and crime. So it is very nice if the students, for example, take the object of their research on the language used in the court, not only the languages in the classroom, but take, for example, the police interrogation in the court, how the judge how the lawyers trying to defend his client, for example, how the prosecutors trying to arrange sentence by sentence to make the judge understand, and then many things can be done. And then also crime, looking at how corruptors are communicating, something like that, and how the evidence of the language can be evaluated, so that can be used for the law enforcement. So even we are students of the language, student of English in the classroom, but we are thinking more. And then it is the demand. Right now, the demand are quite much, in the sense that people are looking at language scientists to help them to solve the crime. It is one of the financial scenarios that we do for speaker identification. And right now I'm trying to, even we are from the language scientists, we are trying to look at more. Here we have been since last year, my colleague and I, utilizing your artificial neural network in forensic linguistics, looking at the sounds structure, looking at the artificial neural network, and then looking at how the brain actually working. It is the model how to compute, yeah, the computational model to look at the evidence, the language evidence, and then present it as a scientific ways, and how for the law enforcement, for the crime investigation. All right, so effective tools, it is the topic of today. Effective tools to test or to assess the students' language ability in online learning process. So learning process has been discussed a lot by previous Kuladi, Dr. Kuladi, my colleague, at the University of FLU, about how actually we are now facing this situation where physical attachment is very limited. And then we are now facing the situation where we must use online. But the problem, as pointed out by the previous lecturers, the problems are always there. Yeah, the problems are always there. But as a teachers in the university or at any levels, we are responsible. We are responsible to solve the problems. We are not we do not surrender of the situation, because it is the demand of our professional English language teachers at the university. Right. Now, first, I would like to invite you to look at what is test or assessment actually. It is gathering information on what students know based on their educational experience. And it is for identifying areas for improvement and ensure that course content meets learning needs. Yeah. Okay, we go to the first point, gathering information on what students know based on their educational experience. So actually, in the test that we present to our students, at the in the mid, or in the final, or weekly, or monthly, actually we are gathering information on what students know based on their educational experience. The educational experience means what we have been teaching, what we have been sharing, what we have been discussing with the students. So we get information, we are trying to get information, and identifying areas for improvement. So once we are gathering the information, so we have a lot of, we can read what are the students' condition, what are the students' let's say weakness, let's say strengths, from, for example, from 20 questions that we present, that we present for the test, for the assessment, then we can identify. So the main purpose, we are trying to improve. As the teachers, we are trying to improve the students' ability. So from the test itself, we know after designing in such a way, we know which part or which part we think that we need more to do. For example, in doing explanation, in providing discussion, or in giving more examples, for example, and ensure that course content meets learning needs. And also, we have been as a teacher, we are not only teaching, but also we look at the outcome of the learning. So actually, once we are teaching, for example, listening skills, we are using sounds recording, we are using video recording, or we are using other medias. Actually, does the content that we present meet the learning needs? We do not want that we have been designing in such a way, but actually it is not the students' need. So it is one way of doing the test, the assessment, gathering information on what the students know, and then identifying areas for the improvement, and make sure for ourselves as the teachers that what we are doing, what we present, our materials meets in parallel with the students' need. Next, factors. We also, once we are designing tests online, offline, or whatever, we are also considering the factors influencing the assessment, especially English language learners in this case. Number one, about the language. Number two, educational background. And then number three, cultural. Language, educational background, and then cultural. We look at these three factors in detail in the next slide. About the language factors, once we are looking at the test that we are presenting to the classroom, to our students, after some meetings, in the mid or in the final, we should consider about the different linguistic backgrounds. As you know, for example, in Indonesia, my students are, for example, Javanese, Sundanese, Lampungese, and also in India, in Hyderabad, I find students from South India, Northern India. They have many linguistic backgrounds. What should we do with these linguistic backgrounds difference? As we know, as the language teachers, we should think about, for example, the differences of the structure, the socio-linguistic factors, how to deal with, for example, younger, older, something like that. So linguistic background may inform us other things. So we should understand, we should be aware of the different linguistic backgrounds of the students. For example, from 50 students, which are from, for example, such kind of areas, and then from another area. And then number two, varying levels of proficiency in English. As we know that not all students has the same proficiency. 70 or 80 scores for the levels. So they may have different, and not may, absolutely, they must have different levels. So we should think of it. So in designing the, even we are presenting questions in our test, in online and offline, we should think of it. It is very basic. And then varying levels of proficiency in native language. Native language. Sure that India, it is the benefit of studying India, in India, because there I learned that people there appreciate their native language. Hindi, they are proud of Hindi. Telugu, they are proud of Telugu. Malayalam, they are proud of Malayalam. And I have professors with different native languages. I learned how language attitudes should be very much strong, because we do not want that we learn English, but we lost our native language. Because the language has cultural heritage through the language. Cultural heritage. So we should, as the language teachers of English, we should think that the native language of the student should be maintained, not be replaced, then they lost the native language. So in here, I also do some project. They are English department, but the project is about their native language. So the test is in English, but the object of observation is in their own languages. They took the data from their village, from the traditional script, and so on and so forth. So language factors should be thought, should be considered once we are dealing with the test, even within the tools. Then the educational background factors. We should think about varying degrees of formal schooling in native language, varying degrees of formal schooling in English, varying degrees of exposure to standardized testing. I would like to focus on the third one, the standardized testing. So because not all institutions refer to these standardized testing. For example, in English, we have TOEFL, for example. We have IELTS, for example. So once we are thinking globally, so these must be taken into consideration. Yes, we have authority to design our own tests for our students, especially for language testing. But also we think that what is the standardized globally? Because we actually, in my mind, once we are teaching our students English, then I'm thinking to send them abroad, or to get the knowledge from abroad, bring in to Indonesia without burden of the language. So the language, the English language, is not a burden for them because they have been in the sense of using English. And to have that, the standardized test must be taken into consideration. And for the cultural factors, the cultural background, and then cultural differences. Yeah, for example, once we are looking at sentences by sentences, for example, there are 20 questions, and then we put into questions. We should be sensitive of the material that being asked. For example, about the in Indonesia, for example, in Indonesia, one ethnic will be sensitive. One ethnic may have sensitive issue that for another ethnic they may not be sensitive for that issue. So once we understand about the student's cultural background, so we can put the questions comfortably for the students to answer. Sometimes the questions for the test is very good. The organization of the sentences are very, very nice. And then the level of difficulties are very well organized, but the content itself may irritate the students, may irritate culturally. And we think it is very important as a teachers of students with many various cultural background, we should think about it, about the cultural differences. Now, it is about the factors influencing our test. Now, evaluating the assessment. Yeah. It is very, I would like to call it as very strategic, strategic for us to be evaluated, because in Indonesia, teachers are evaluated by students at the end of the session. Yeah, I think it is also the same thing in India. To get assessment from the teachers is assessed by the students, how he organized the classroom, how well he understand, how well he mastered the materials, how well he engage with the students, motivated with students, and so on and so forth. So one of the things is how well the teachers evaluate the students' examination, test. How is the teacher scoring them? So empirical evidence should be gathered to evaluate the fairness. The fairness is a very important keyword. Assessment and scoring. So using online, the tool that I will introduce in this in my presentation, assessment and scoring must be underlined. Yeah. So evaluate. For example, we cannot judge subjectively. Yeah. Oh, I think I think your composition is good, and then you can get A, and then this is not good, you can get B, and so on and so forth. We must provide the empirical evidence why it is good, why it is bad, and then give the scoring. Yeah, a little bit about what we are now. We are now in the generation, the fourth generation of industrial revolution. Earlier, we in the first, second, third, now we are in the fourth. Cyber physical systems. So right now, using Zoom, it is cyber physical system. We are connected one another. Internet of people, Internet of things, IoT, IOP. It is only possible with this fourth industrial revolution. So we with this dealing with testing, assessing students' ability, language ability, listening, speaking, writing, reading can be done using this kind of technology. Now, what are the tools? Actually, there are many. Yeah. So I actually prepare many, but then I think only two. I will present only two. The rest I present the names, and then we can you can observe, and then whenever it is necessary, we can do communication. I think I have put my contact number and then also emails. Yeah. Now, number one, Firebox. Firebox, it is free, and then also there is another version that we should pay. The free one is okay. Making quizzes, yeah, very fast, no problem. And then quizzes may be chat box on Facebook Messenger. As we know that students are aware of using Facebook Messengers to promote, to share ideas and something more. And then also participant data, the data can export automatically to more than 500 applications through the integration with Zapier. Wow, fantastic. And easy to design, a high quality, nice looking certificate for quiz takers using Canva. So everything is fine, no problem. All right. So I prepare the video from the Firebox website. So we will see, yeah, and then it is very nice. Once we have finished with this, and then the students can use, teachers can use. For the next slide, yeah, just wait a minute. Yeah, I play. I check the sound first. Okay.
Hello and thanks for watching. In this tutorial, we'll learn how to customize the look and feel of your quiz. So as you can see, this is the look and feel editor here. So you have the legend of all the tools at the top here. And on the left, you have the toolbar that allows you to change all elements at the same time. For instance, if I want to change the banner and the buttons all at the same time, I would click on the color picker and I would change all of them. Same thing for the text color. You can change the text on every single element. So I'm going to go back to white. The background color would be equivalent as well. You could change everything. If you would like to change elements separately, then you will go click straight on the element, and so you can customize the instruction here or the button, for instance. So it allows you to really customize the look and feel of your quiz according to your website. You can as well drag an element and then move it around. Drag as well a button. You can change the label on the button. On the yes or no quiz, you can increase the size of the answers as well. And again, you can change the color of the button separately. Same thing for the instruction. You can move it around. If you're not really happy with your design, you can always browse our themes. As you can see, we offer 2 or 3 dozen of themes. So you can just click on one, then apply it to your quiz, and you will go straight back to the look and feel page with everything from the theme. Then when you decide, you can test your quiz easily to see if it's the look and feel that you're after, and you can play your quiz. All right, thank you for watching.
All right, so it's very simple introduction how to use it. I will not explain in details because it is very challenging for you to observe by yourself, because once we do observation on using this, we can do many things to do. We can do we can have a lot of things to design, and it is the thing of using the online testing. Yeah, design some questions, and then we are looking at what are being tested. So back to the concept. So the tool is only a tool. It is something like the philosophy is aeroplane. Aeroplane can fly, can be used, but how the plane is flying depends on the pilot. Who are the pilots of using tools? We are the teachers. So we, the teachers, should be equipped with the concept how we are looking at the language, how the language is being taught, how is the language is being tested, and how is the language being used for the students' purpose. As if you still remember from my previous slides, we are looking at the testing, looking at whether the content that being tested meets the students' need. The students want, for example, we do not want, we are having this, but the student having that. We are doing that, but the student want to have this. So looking at what is the main demand the main purpose of the students of having our class. So looking at the language architecture system, we are looking at, for example, we are testing the phonology. Once the student needs for the speaking skills. For the speaking skills, please do not teach the student in our for example, the tools that just now we have, looking at the vocabulary, sentence structure, so on and so forth, without looking at how, for example, the sounds pronounced, how, for example, the sentence is uttered. Because the same sentence will have different meaning if the sentence is pronounced differently. Yeah. For example, yeah, for example, we are trying to appreciate, we are trying to comply our students' achievement. We say, you are wonderful. You are wonderful. You are wonderful. But in different ways, we can say you are wonderful without that he's wonderful or not. You are wonderful. We appreciate, we admire, we adore that he's very wonderful. You are wonderful. You are wonderful. You are wonderful. The same wordings, but has different meaning. So it is the thing. So looking at the thing that we are trying to test. For example, if the students demands on the speaking skills, then we concentrate on the phonology, the intonation, the spelling, pronunciation, the stress. As we know that English is a stress language, a different stress. Yeah, the word has particular stress. So we are looking at the quality of the student's speech, for example, through intonation, through the pronunciation of phonemes, vowels, consonants, stress, the correct stress, which syllable is stressed, which syllables are not stressed, something like that. Once we are looking at, for example, the students' demands is writing, because they want to be, for example, they want to be reporter, but reporter concentrate on the writing, yeah, not reporter for interviewing. For the reviewing, we are looking at the phonology. For the writing, looking at lexical grammar, semantics, yeah, because the choice of words may have different effect. Even the meaning is the same. Now the second one, Kahoot. Yeah, it is another tool online that we can do. It is for administering quizzes, something like the same thing, the previous one, but also facilitating discussion. So we can do discussion through the platform of Kahoot, or collecting survey data. If at the same time we are trying to have data, survey, and many things, we can do. We can use Kahoot. Also, sometimes even our university students, I think it is normal to have intermezzo, entertain, and Kahoot is a good thing to use. It is a game-based classroom response system played by the whole class in real time. Yeah, it is the thing that I prepared the video regarding about Kahoot. Wait a minute, I'll check the sounds. Yeah, all right. So here we go.
First, Kahoot is a game-based or gamified student response system that takes something like a Socrative type student responses, but it also adds some gaming elements like a point system. It has interesting music and visuals. And what I like most about this is not only is it engaging for the kids, but it's easy to set up. And I would say even easier to actually pull off and play in your classroom. You can use any device, and all you need is one projector or one way to share out the access code, and anybody can play. So I'm going to show you how to quickly set one up. First, you're going to go to getkahoot.com. This is the teacher side. So this is where you're going to set up your games and save your games. And then kahoot.it is where any student would go. So as long as they know to go to kahoot.it, they can go to on their Chromebook, on their laptop, on their iPad, any device they have, even their phones. As long as they go to this address, they can get the game pin and they can play. So once you sign in, it's going to give you a dashboard with your Kahoots, public Kahoots that you can play, and then also how to create your own. So we're going to create a new one. So we go to quiz, give it a name. And then you're just going to enter your questions. So for this, I'm just going to say, name that president. And then I'm going to choose an image. You don't always have to add an image, but it is a nice little feature, particularly if you're going to do something like this, where they just have to name the president that is in the image file. So you click choose file. We'll start out with Bill Clinton. Give a little preview, see what it's going to look like, and then you enter your answer choices below. Once you have your choices in, you're going to click below the correct answer. It'll turn green, and then you know you have the right answer in there. If you're done with your quiz, you just click save and continue, or if you want to add a couple more questions, you click add questions, which is what I'm about to do now. I'm just going to put 3 in there for the sample video. Oh, another thing is that you can change the time limit. So you can make it anywhere from 5 to 120 seconds per question. We'll make this one 10 seconds. Okay, once you have all your questions entered, you click save and continue. And then you get a quick preview of your questions, how long it takes, and then how many word choices you have. Okay, to finish up, you're going to choose some privacy settings. We're going to make this a public one to share out. The audience, we're going to click school, quick description. And lastly, any tags if you want people to be able to search for this. And before you're done, you can actually choose to add an image or a YouTube video in the background that will display in the lobby screen. We're just going to do an image file here. Use the presidential seal. Preview of it, and then you click done. Now this is going to show up in your dashboard, and to start playing, you just simply click play now. And you have a couple options. I usually like to randomize the questions and randomize the order of answers. Now, once you launch this, it's going to give a student pin, and this will allow anybody on any device to join Kahoot. So let's just enter this in the desktop version. And what I'm going to do is also join this game from my Chromebook and from my iPhone. So after you join, I'll say to put in a nickname. And you can see the nickname that I put in here just showed up on the dashboard. Now, this screen is what you're going to show your students projected out onto the screen. This screen on the left is what the students will see on their device. Now I'm just going to enter the game from my other 2 devices. Okay, now you see all 3 of my devices are in with their names. If someone joins that you don't want in the game, or if they just have an inappropriate name, you can actually X them and kick them out of the game. But to start, you just press start now. And again, this on the left side is what the players will see. Okay, so you have the options here, and on the student side, they would just choose the image or the shape and color of the correct answer. Okay, so once the time's up, it'll say how many correct answers there were, how many students or people chose each answer, and then what the correct answer was. Now, from the student side, they actually see, for instance, this student or the person on the desktop, it shows how many points and then what position they're in out of the total class. Then on the teacher side, it'll have a ranking that you can show the class of who's winning the game. Now, it's not just who gets it right, but how fast they answer, which is a really cool part of this, and it makes it engaging for the students because they're not just racing to get it right, but they're who can answer this the quickest. See, all of us got it right on that one. So now it just comes down to timing. The iPhone was the fastest to answer, so that ended up winning this particular game. Now, once you're done, you get some final feedback and results. Students can rate it on how fun it was, whether they learned something, and also if they recommend it. And they can also say how happy they are. And you can see this actually automatically pops up, giving you some feedback. Okay, once you're done, click Final Results. And you can download your results if you want a spreadsheet, track your data, or if you just want to play again, have some fun, click Play Again or play different Kahoot. All right, hope this helps. It's a fun, engaging game for kids. I definitely recommend it. Enjoy.
Yeah. I have another 50 minutes, 10 minutes actually. Yeah. Then through the test, the tools that we can do online with the students, we are thinking about the students' demand for the communication, whether the contents using email, listening, announcement, writing, news, for everything we should consider. And then also we think about the concept about which part of the language is being tested, about the certification, the phonetic, phonology, lexicographer, semantic, the context. About the instantiation, we take, for example, the samples from the newspapers, from the media, from the social media, and then looking at more specifically when we are looking at the language, the structure, from the text to the paragraph, and then to the sentence, and then looking at, for example, the sounds, and the knowledge of the language is fruitful for us to empower us as the teachers, the language teachers, and looking and having the tools, using the tools. So it is only through the tool. We have Google Forms, and then Plickers, Socrative, Flipgrid, Parallel, Today's Meet, Verso Box, Classflow, many. Classcraft, BrainPop, Quizlet, Kahoot. But actually, this is only tools. The main actors are the teachers, pilot of the airplane, and we are the pilot. How we fly the airplane, how we use the Kahoot, the tools, depends on the knowledge that we have, the experience that we have, the training that we have, how thoughtful we are as the teachers to use these kind of things to help the student improve their language skills. How we help them to get their demand, their needs of using the language skills. So it is the thing that I would like to share. Very simple, and hopefully it is inspiring for me especially, and then also for language teachers, for students. Then we can do more things to facilitate students with tools to assess, to test online their language skills. Thank you very much. It is my photos many years ago while I was in India with Otto, my special, my lovely transportation. And thank you. It is Hindi, Telugu, Malayalam, and Kannada, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you very much. I stopped the share screen. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Salmon. Very informative session that you have shared, and how to retain the students while taking the digital class. Really, the tools that you have mentioned are really, really very good. Instantaneously, we can post a question and involve the students in the online sessions. And thank you very much. And all the tools, I would like to ask a question. The tools that you have mentioned are free or to be paid?
Totally free, but some tools are having a different version, free, and then for business, it is we must pay some dollars, but most of them are free.
Okay, but very good. Certain tools we can make use of in our online classroom, and we can involve the students and what they are learning. Suddenly posing a question and making them to answer instantaneously is Very interesting point that has been shared by you. And now I request the participants, if they have any questions, they can ask. Mr. Sumanto is ready to answer.
Yeah.
So far we haven't have any question but praises. Very informative session, good. Send the feedback link, nice presentation. Interesting comments are coming. So far, no question. I think I am the only one asked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
so
is one more. There is one more question. How to make online classes more effective?
yeah, it's a very difficult question actually. Because right now also I'm struggling how to make effective classroom online be effectively. Even my even I have trouble, but I'm trying to share what I have done. Because it is online session, and then we have no chance to look at our student physically, so we do not have chance to read their gestures and then also to exploit our gestures. Sometimes we are using gestures to help them understand us. And then if some concept of the language, for example, sentences or paragraph or poetry, something like that, we use, for example, hands. We use we are going here, going there, and then sometimes we look at deeply at their eyes, something like to show that we are so attentively to the students, something like this. I look at the screen. So it is not possible once it is online. And if we do that, it is quite weird, something like this. I try to exploit my look to the screen, but it's quite weird. Then the basic question, the basic answer is we must put our position while we are teaching online. We should put our position in their position. Then we can think. Sometimes what we think effectively is not effectively to the students. We think that it is effective, it is here, there, and here, there, because of we are thinking from the perspective of the teachers. But then we forget that they are students, they are not teachers. We are not teaching teachers, we are teaching students. So with their limitation, with their social background, cultural background, something like that, and then with their environment. For example, they are looking at online system, but there are many brothers sisters at their home. So the effective ways is depends on the situation, but trying to understand that we are teaching those far away from us, and then we cannot reach physically. So we must manage the content in such a way more simple, not complicated, and then communicative. Sometimes for example, we are teaching a paragraph. Yeah, we are teaching how to translate the paragraph. So make the content is very simple as possible, and then using the using the ways, using sometimes choose the words which are not very complicated. Yeah, then because through that, because it is a long distance relation. Yeah, me and Mr. Dr. Mahepati and then Dr. Lasmiramana, we are in a long distance relationship. So I try to make my sentences as easy as possible, because I'm thinking that I'm talking in far away. I'm thinking, I'm talking to someone which cannot be touched physically from here. So, and also looking at the thing that in the previous slides, effectively means that we are trying to make them understand whatever we are teaching, whatever that we are teaching. Then we are looking at their backgrounds, cultural backgrounds. Sometimes that we teach is very effective based on us, but it is very sensitive to their cultural values. For example, me, I must be aware of the word choice because I'm talking to someone audience from India. How luckily, I have been there almost 10 years, so I can be very careful of crafting the sentences, something like that. So it is not so it can be acceptable culturally. It is acceptable, for example, put the examples, acceptable for the audiences in India, and then also it is easy to understand. So the effective way is how we design in such a way that the students can understand. So put our position in their position. It is very simple actually. Then it will flow the ways, because we are using the thing that we think what is actually the students need. I think
Thank you very much
if
for
I
your
answer any question.
elaborate answer. Kanni Venkat, Mr. Kanni Venkat is asking, can you please tell me these apps are accessible for differently abled students?
Sorry, I beg your
Can
pardon.
these apps be useful for physically challenged students?
Oh yeah, for the physical challenge students, yeah, why not? Because it is, I think, the benefit of using online, because they have no obstacles. They can access the learning, the education through their room, their own bed. So it is very nice. And then we could actually facilitate with the quality of the content. So we please I mean that it is kind of thing, a good thing for them who have physical challenge to access the education as much as possible. And as the university, as the teachers, should also think the best for them.
Thank you. Another question from Navani. Suggest any tools to access learners' pronunciation while teaching phonetics.
Sorry, phonetic?
While teaching phonetics, how to assess the learner's pronunciation?
Oh, yeah.
Is there any tool available?
Oh, yeah. Actually, we can do, for example, PRAT, PRAAT. Also, using the design of the test audio, then we can do evaluate the sounds using our ear, or using PRAT. The tool can look at the sound wave, the intensity, many things can be done. And I hope there will be another session, special session for using that, because it is for forensic phonetic. I use it very much. Then I think it is very good for the teachers to evaluate authentically about the sounds of the quality of the sounds of the students in terms of teaching phonetic and phonology.
Okay, thank you. Another question from Shamsuddin. What are the prompts helpful to urge the students to do the assignment on time?
On time, yeah. Yeah, it is problems, because we know that being on time is also a problem in Indonesia. So we should tolerate, because it is not the thing that we want. It is, we are in the pandemic, COVID-19, and then we don't know what there are challenges there, doing assignment, something like that. So please, also we think about their problems, having a lot of assignments, because we are thinking only ourselves about our lesson, right? But the students have more than one teachers, so more than one assignments. So we also think about that, and then hopefully that the department think about the tolerate about the time, something like that. But discipline is compulsory on time, and then a little bit of the prolong, then put the regulation.
Thank you, sir. Regina Ginaki, I think I might be correct in pronouncing her name. It is very good, but my question is there any protection tools to prevent the students misusing our teaching or lecturing videos, like posting it in TikTok, etc.?
Yeah, it is very it is a problem for to avoid such kind of thing. So I think the thing is I don't know the tool for avoid that, but we can avoid the problem by introduce the ethic in the introduction of the classroom. Say that please be considerable to use the materials, and then it is for the educational purpose. Don't use it for other purpose, because as we know, if we misuse of the material, because they are person, right? They are person, and then copyright, the student can be issued to the law. So legal literacy should be introduced to the students, so that we can avoid such kind of thing.
Okay, thank you, sir. Manisha Singh would like to know the important role of linguistics in anthropology.
Linguistic and anthro?
In anthropology.
Yep, quite be very related one another. Anthropology, we are looking at the ethnicity, the people, studying of the people using the language, and through the language we are studying the people. So I did in some works, I went to the mountain, look at the community, studying the language, and then look at the cultural activities, and then very nice. We cannot study the language by itself. We study the language with the people, with the activities, with the society, and then it is anthropology.
Okay. Dr. Sana Abdul Hadi is trying to know the effect of the cultural factor on assessment.
Sorry?
Dr. Sana would like to know the effect of the cultural factor on assessment.
Oh, yeah. Assessment itself, I mean that we should consider about the content itself. So don't the sensitivity of the content, don't irritate the people from a specific cultural background. It is the thing. So once we, for example, in the assessment, we are trying to assess, to test their comprehending. So the paragraph talking about some specific thing, and looking at the content, and then consider that it will not irritate particular cultural background of the students. For example, about some event, as we know that it is quite possible in Indonesia also, some event happened in one place, in another place, and then clash to social, social, what do we call it? Friction, friction between people in the grassroots. So don't take some kind of thing, because we are not sure that they are comfortable or not with the issue.
Okay. Aparna from Hyderabad would like to know the tools for online subjective assessment, assignments otherwise.
The tool?
Are any tools that they are available to assess subjective assignments?
Subjective assignment means?
Subjective means 2 to 3 sentence answers, some writing exercise.
Yeah, the thing that Kahoot, and then these two things can be so please please explore, and then it is available, very much available in the website, in the internet. Very nice. So it is the tools that can be used. Sorry.
Okay. Archana from Hyderabad would like to know what are the strategies adopted by you to sustain the attention of learners. She would like to know your tools.
It is that. To make the students attentive, focus on us, right? Yeah, it is problem also with me. And I cannot guarantee that my students always look at me. Even some problem with the video, for example, while they are in front of the laptop, we are not sure that they are in front of the laptop. They may be cooking or playing with their sisters, brothers, but no problem. It is one of the nature of having online uh, uh, long distance relationship. We cannot control, but as far as the outcome is okay, no problem.
Okay. Aparna from Hyderabad would like to know what are the specific techniques to assess professional students like engineering students especially.
Sorry?
Specific techniques. Do we have any specific techniques to assess the language ability of the professional students?
Oh yeah, professional students. There is no actually because those tools are for common people also. So how we do assessment? How do we evaluate? So just design the content of the questions in the tools. The content, the quality of the content meet their demands, something like that. Okay, but I think because my university closed. Yeah, no. So is it? It is the last questions? Because it is yeah.
It's the last question.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Because the university will close the administration. Sorry, because I'm not from home. I'm from my office.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I would like to say thank you for the university and all professors, chancellors, vice chancellors, the directors, everyone who make it possible, and especially my colleague, my dear colleague, Dr. Bobby, who has been introducing me to all of you. And this is my also my good opportunity to share what I have a little bit on my experience, and then hopefully it is inspiring for me especially, and then for all participants.
Yes, thank you very much for your inputs, and we have enlightened and we have come to know so many apps that are available to sustain the students in our online sessions. Thank you very much, sir, for your enlightening PPT and the demonstrations that you have shown of certain apps. Really, really very informative. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Before, before going to propose the vote of thanks, I would like to invite the convener of the session, the two-day webinar, Madam Anantalakshmi, to address the gathering, and she would like, we are requesting her to share the inputs of the 2 days.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi Ramana. Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi Ramana. Before going forward for the convener's concluding remarks, here is a small Sanskrit quote I would like to share with you. Keyurani na bhushayanti purusham harana chandrojvalah na snanam na vilepanam na kusumam nalankrita murthajaha vanyekya samalankaroti purusham ya samskruta dharyate क्षीयन्ते खलु भूषणानि सततम् वाग्भूषणं भूषणम् वाग्भूषणं भूषणम्. The last line of the stanza says that irrespective of all the jewelry we wear, which will be torn off with the time, the language, the pleasant, crisp, and grammatically error-free language of speech, the vaku, that comes only with a good educational background and is only the real jewelry that adorns a man. So, with this, I really thank Dr. Susanto Saman, who is really bestowed with the blessings of Goddess Saraswati, what the Indians believe in, that the speech he gave today for 1 hour continuously really awakened all the darkness of our souls and could able to take us forward towards the light of the education and light of the language teaching. Thank you very much, Sumanto Saman. And last 4 sessions, it was really enlightening, and we were taken to the next world, how to adapt the technology and how to go ahead with the new embracing the new technology driven language teaching. Then coming back to the idea of webinar, right? Being the convener of the webinar, one fine day, me and Mahipati Srinivasarao sir, while walking in the corridors of the empty corridors of the college for a meeting without any students, there was completely the silence, a kind of deadly silence, which is very passive and not at all welcoming. The idea of webinar came out. How to deal with this pandemic situation, how to give the support to the faculty to embrace the technology driven teaching. That idea sown on that day, and that is 3 weeks back on June 17th, and it sprouted out, and very soon it laid the branches, and we went on working on day and night to make this event successful today with the great speeches of all the 4 great professors. With the folded hands, I thank all the 4 professors from the different parts of the world, all the 4 of them connected with us to give the more and more inputs to all the participants here. Then we the Department of English from Anurag University, we are a small team of 14 people here, and all of us made ourselves into small teams again to make this event more and more successful. And the resource persons, the team of resource persons were allotted to Dr. V. Lakshmiramana madam, who worked in the outside India, who got the international experience, and to Dr. Sunil Kumar and Dr. Babi Duli and Dr. MSR sir. And because of the Sunil Kumar and Dr. Babi Duli, all the 4 the resource persons are here. I thank them with heartfelt acknowledgements. Then the brochure preparation and the poster preparation was assigned to Dr. M. Srinivas Rao sir and C.H. Srinivas and T. Sunil Kumar, who gave the overwhelming response and immediately prepared that one. Because of that, we could able to reach the people across the globe. And promotions and registrations, again, a big challenge for us because we don't have much networking, how to reach the people. And luckily, I should say thanks to COVID times, because of the lot many webinars available nowadays, all our faculty could able to find time to spare time for attending webinars. Through attending the webinars, they could able to have the connectivity with the other people. That's how today I have 2065 registrations. I'm happy to share that from 13 countries, and countries like Africa, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Iraq, Jordan, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and Malawi, Nigeria, Oman, Pakistan, Philippines, and Qatar, and Yemen. And also all the 36 states, and from Banaras, Assam, Guwahati, from remote corners of Uttarakhand, and everywhere we have today the participants. This is what the miracle the technology can do, that going forward, this is how we are going to meet each other. That is not physically, no need of traveling to somewhere else, and we are going to meet virtually, and we can have all the knowledge share. Then the e-certificates team worked day and night to make it successful by Dr. M. Mahipati Srinivas Rao sir, C.H. Srinivas, N. Babu Rao sir, and Mr. D. Sunil Kumar, and preparing and Zoom, using the Zoom platform, again YouTube streaming. These are all challenges what we have faced. Of course, being the language teachers, we are not well versed with the technology, but we are quick learners. We could able to do it well. Then, coming back to the tech support, when the idea sprouted out, immediately Dr. Mahipati Srinivas Rao sir gave me, immediately Dr. Mahipati Srinivas Rao sir gave me the assurance, madam, let us go. This is where we are today. After 3 weeks, we could able to successfully complete this one. And here I cannot complete my convener's note without extending my thanks to my support team, that is Padmini and Madhavi, who came irrespective of their time limits and all, who helped a lot. Then coming forward to the role played by Archana madam, Kiranmai madam, and Babu Rao sir, Dr. V. Padma, who is there from the beginning, the support, and also Sarika madam, and also Dr. Pradeep Kumar sir, who helped us a lot. But for the teamwork of the whole Department of English, this thing might not have happened. So I think now again I reiterate that united we stand, divided we fall. And we have 4 sessions. On the first day session handled by Muhammad Ali from University, and we could able to have you in the YouTube streaming 3,200 views and 480 feedbacks. And for the second session handled by Dr. Patricia Ackerman from Kansas State University, we got 1,700 views and 754 feedback forms. And for the third session, we received 1,800 views and also 754 feedback forms. That is for the session handled by Lisa madam today morning. So now also it is streaming to 1,700 views for Sushanto Saman's session. So I really feel thankful and to Anurag University management and the intellectual team leading the Anurag University, and also everyone, each and everyone who was part and parcel of this particular event, including Mahesh, Anita, and everyone who supported us. But for the cooperation of each and everyone, this gigantic event might not have happened. So I feel privileged to take the lead of Department of English, being the convener, standing there to see my team struggling every day. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, madam, for your report of the 4 sessions of the 2 days. Now I request the co-convener of the event, Dr. Mahipati Srinivas, to share certain points to organize this webinar.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Professor Lakshmi ma'am. I strongly feel we have organized 2-day international webinar on problems and prospects of online language teaching to the best of the satisfaction of all participants. In fact, the positive appreciative comments, remarks made in the chat box of Zoom and YouTube by participants can serve as a testimony to the excellent presentations given by all the 4 speakers. I also hope the question and answer sessions of 2-day international webinar was also organized befittingly. I express the token of my gratitude to the management, the Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor, the Director, the Deans, heads of the Anurag University for their unstinting support and motivation in organizing the webinar very successfully. I express my special thanks to Head Department of English, Anurag University, and the convener of the webinar, Dr. Anantalakshmi, without whose support and constant encouragement, this webinar would not have been a grand success. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. I'm thankful to today's moderator, Dr. V. Lakshmana ma'am, for conducting 2 sessions very effectively. I'm also grateful to Dr. Babi Doli, Mr. C.H. Srinivas, Mr. Sunil, and Dr. V. Padma ma'am, who is going to propose the vote of thanks for all the sessions respectively. And also thank the other faculty, Dr. A. Pradeep Kumar, Kiran Mai ma'am, Archana ma'am, Aparna ma'am, Babu Rao sir, Sarika ma'am, all these people, without all their support, we might not have done these sessions effectively and successfully. I express my heartfelt thanks to all the teaching and non-teaching staff members, especially Madhavi and Padmini, the technical support which they have rendered. And that's the reason I can say that we could successfully complete this 2-day international webinar in an overwhelming manner. Lastly, I earnestly seek your apology if any technical glitches or any disturbances were encountered while organizing this webinar. I thank all the participants who have been patient in listening and active in participating, and all the way throughout the way they were been interacting with the speakers. I thank you very much. And this is the first time we on YouTube, so it was proved that we could do it very well and we could be successful. And I would like to thank by saying that even the academic institutions are closed, but not learning. I thank everyone for your active participation. Thank you one and all.
So, as convener here, I would like to add 2 more points. I would like to thank my co-convener, Dr. Mahipati Srinivas Rao sir, and my event coordinators, Dr. Lakshmi Ramana, and today's moderator, who stood there from naming the baby. That is our international webinar of 2 days. That is from the title to the concluding note. She is there from the beginning, irrespective of all the struggles. And thank you very much, madam. And Dr. Babi, who played very crucial role in bringing up the resource persons. Because of Babi, Shushanto Saman is here. So openly, I would like to offer my thanks to Babi Duli once again. And I thank Sunil Kumar, who could able to make us to connect with Patricia Ackerman and also Lisa Shafi. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much, madam, and Srinivas Rao garu. Now the time has come to say bye to the sessions and the excellent networking. We have got so many friends and so much of networking happened through this webinar, and the legacy will continue, and we are going to meet once again in several such type of sessions. Now I request Dr. V. Padma to propose the vote of thanks of the day. Dr. Padma.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Lakshmi ma'am. Good evening to one and all. As the saying goes, no duty is more urgent than that of returning thanks. I deem it an honor and privilege to propose vote of thanks on behalf of the Department of English, Anurag University. I, Dr. V. Padma, Associate Professor of English, express my heartfelt thanks to the management, Anurag University, for their magnanimity, motivation, and enthusiastic support in organizing this 2-day international webinar on problems and prospects of online teaching. I wish to express my deep sense of gratitude to our dynamic and truly outstanding director, Dr. K.S. Rao sir, for being with us throughout this event. As opined by you, sir, language is essential part of life. Usage of vocabulary at proper place is very essential. And the 2 books you mentioned, Wren and Martin and Word Power Made Easy, are the handbooks and ready reckoners even today. I would also like to thank our Dean, School of Engineering, Anurag University, Dr. Vishnumurthy sir, for sharing his valuable thoughts. We do agree, sir, with the punchline of yours. Soft skills can make or break your career. It's high time students be made to realize the concept of self. Here, I would like to reminisce and quote what Vishnumurthy sir rightly remarked in one of the webinars, that technology cannot replace teachers, but teachers who use technology will replace teachers who do not. Truly said, sir, this is the need of the hour. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to place on record a heartfelt thanks to our energetic and highly spirited Head Department of English, Dr. GVS Ananthalakshmi ma'am for an enormous cooperation for organizing this two-day international webinar. I must mention a deep sense of appreciation for our resource person of this session, Dr. Shushanto Saman, Head Center for Studies in Linguistics, University of Bandar, Lampung, Indonesia. Sir, your presentation on the topic, effective tools to test the students' language ability in online learning process was highly inspiring, informative, exceptional, and remarkable. So I would also like to mention a few points I added when you were giving your deliberation. Yes, sir. The technology of language is how we communicate. And your research work being carried out on language technology, language typology, language acquisition, language learning and teaching, psycholinguistics, clinical linguistics, neurolinguistics, biolinguistics, forensic linguistics is really noteworthy and awe-inspiring. Also, I would like to mention some of the key points I observed that yes, we need to look at our outcome of the learning. As language teachers, when we design or frame syllabus, we need to ensure that course content meets learning needs. Very true, sir. And we're indeed the noteworthy points where the factors influencing the assessment of English language learners, where three things were to be considered: the language, educational background, culture, and also the language factors. Yes, sir. Language attitudes should be firm and native language of the student should be maintained. We truly agree. As you have rightly said, we have an authority to test our students, but a standardized test must be taken into consideration. So, the mentioning of your the points like the apps, like the tools you mentioned, like Firebox, Kahoot, Google Form, BrainPop, Socrative, Quizlet are really mentally challenging. And then also, I think we need to get into these apps and then have some grip on them. Lastly, I would like to say English is a stress time language. Yes, sir. We, the language teachers, do ascertain that we need to be watchful of our words. Thank you so much, sir. Also, now I would also like to thank all the speakers, Muhammad Ali Kulaidi, Patricia Ackerman, Lisa Shepe, for their valuable inputs and insights. As we all are aware that COVID-19 pandemic has transformed the centuries-old chalk-talk model to one driven by technology. It's evident how much educators and students will need the creative and critical thinking in the ensuing times to stand out in every niche. I owe special gratitude to our tech support team and organizers, teaching and non-teaching staff who contributed directly or indirectly for making this mega memorable event. Last but not the least, on behalf of the Department of English, Anurag University, I thank all the participants across the world. We appreciate each one of you present for these 2 days. It's been a great pleasure to have you all with us. Hope the webinar was worth your time and effort and has taken you to an exciting, fresh approach to online teaching. I'm sure this webinar will definitely be a go-getter in your life. Let us hope for more webinars in future. I once again thank the entire congregation. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Here is a small announcement I would like to give to the participants. Because of n number of participants participated, the certificates will be reaching you in a day or two. So please bear with us. Certainly every participant will receive the certificate. The feedback link has been shared. Please fill it up and submit. Thank you very much.